Primordial Radio.
What was sort of inspiring you lyrically with the Halo Effect? Like, what were you thinking you wanted to write about for the Halo Effect specifically?
So I was coming off just of writing the latest Dr. Who album. So it was all about like, oh, my feelings and, you know, whatever I was feeling at the time. So it's like, how do I start something new without repeating myself? So I tried to take as much inspiration as possible from the other guys, basically, and also from our shared experience. It's like, how did we meet? What brought us together in the first place? What has happened since? You know, our lives have taken very different, you know, directions since we were 16, obviously. And all the stories we've shared over the years. It's like how we felt about where we are and how we felt about what we do. And that was the starting point. So like just talking to everybody as we started the band, and also like all the stories I've heard over the years, like from Peter, who I've known, you know, I've hung out with the most, for instance, but also from Daniel and Niklas and Jesper, and just trying to kind of figure out how to talk about us without being it too personal, but also like having our shared experiences be part of the lyrics as well. Was really interesting, and it made for like kind of like a good way of finding inspiration, just sitting in the studio talking about everything, talking about ourselves and the music and our history and the good old days and the way that we met and the good old shows that we saw and the bands that we loved and all that stuff. But also, yeah, all the bad sides as well, like how difficult things can be, even though you feel like you're at the top of the world, but you're hating everything because of certain reasons, all that stuff. So the good and the bad, and kind of like how that has affected us, and also like how good it feels to kind of start fresh, not thinking about that, just having that as an experience rather than something that kind of weighs you down. So it was more like writing about it and how to overcome it or get through it. Without it being like one of those like, oh, I cannot fucking endure this shit. It was more like, yeah, we went through it, we've done it, we dealt with it, and now we can move on, kind of thing. And because I think there's a lot of positivity in the band, and I never wanted it to be anything kind of like negativity where we're like, oh, we've done this, done that. It's like, no, we just move on, and we just focus on the cool stuff and the fun stuff, and kind of like how did we feel had we started this band in 92? Like what would it have felt like, that kind of stuff. But of course, without kind of forgetting the experiences we've had over 30 plus years, you know.
So what is the process of reconnection been like then? Because as you say, you're so different now to when you would have been at 16 years old. I mean, I certainly think to myself at 16 years old going, completely different person.
Well, yeah, but of course, I mean, Gothenburg is small, and we've been in contact for all these years, but like because of the fact that we've been touring constantly and you know, traveling all over, we only see this once every other tour or whatever, and then
like at Christmas when everyone's home.
No, airports, festivals,
yeah,
you know, that kind of
and
thing.
It's like for 10 minutes, yeah,
and it becomes kind of ridiculous, but of course, like nothing, things have changed, but you have kept up with it all the time. So it was very easy to get into it, and we just like go into the studio or like start writing. Everybody was like, yeah, this is it. Like, I mean, I've known Daniel since I was 14, 15 when he was in my brother's class in school. So he was like, yeah, I want this. Like, I want you to sing the way you did back then. And I was like, yeah, I want you to play drums like this. And, you know, it's like, it's so easy because we've known each other. And this is so much part of our musical memory and DNA that it becomes so easy. And also like talking about music is the easiest thing in the world because we just feel it. You go like, hey, this is cool. Yeah, I know it is. And we go with it. It's not like you have to dissect or overthink anything. It's just very instinctual. And I think especially with Niklas and Jesper together, like they haven't played together more than a few times because Niklas replaced Jesper at one point in Flames. but when they come together, like it's the same kind of thing. Like they just know each other musically so well, you know. And that for me has been the most inspiring and interesting part, to kind of sit in the room with these guys and try to figure out what to do, and having things be so instinctual and fast, and kind of with this kind of
The word that comes to my mind is chemistry. Every band has to have it, of course, but it seems like you've got
of course,
some
but
insane chemistry going on right now.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I didn't think of that, but that's definitely a good word for it, because that's what it is. And of course, just because we've had that forever since we became friends, but so yeah, that's definitely a part of it, because you just sit down and you talk about it and you go like, yeah, let's do it, and you don't have to question anything. You don't have to second guess your decisions like you would do, you know, in a band that's been going for 20 plus years or 30 plus years, whatever. And it's very liberating to work like that, and that kind of also brings back memories of starting a band for the first time, you know, where you go like, hey, anything is possible, you know, we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yes, without fear.
Yeah, and of course, and when we wrote this, we didn't have a deal, we didn't have any plans. We just had a studio and unlimited time, so there was no pressure at all. That's a good thing to have.
And I wonder now, is there a little bit of a tussle in your mind when you're writing, or like Dark Tranquillity, Halo Effect? Like how are you kind of figuring that out when you're just jamming any kind of riff or thinking of any kind of lyric?
No, I'm just trying to kind of go with the songs, you know, and the vibe of the band. You know, Dark Tranquillity is something that you always kind of you strive to find new ways of expressing the way that we think about music and what we have done in the past. It's very difficult, but at the same time incredibly rewarding to figure out like a new way of writing an album, you know, having something fresh to present and to write. That's the hardest part, but the best part.
Primordial Radio.